All right, so take 1 million. I realize now that I have to put my phone on silent in order to make these videos because if not, 550 million people call me and I have to do this over and over again and I'm getting really tired of it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is genetics and DNA. And this whole idea came to me after I told my brother to take a DNA test after our father had passed away. And I was really interested in understanding, my brother's line and my mother's line. And I learned a lot about, the patriarchal DNA and the mitochondrial DNA, which is what the woman has and passes down from mother to mother. Then there's this whole DNA that the father passes down from father to father. And then, of course, there's the DNA that mixes in, that is basically the rest of your genetic code that mixes in one with the other. Then there's this whole philosophy from many religions that say that there is past lives and that we reincarnate. Back when I was younger, so I'm in my 40s now, but back when I was like in my 20s, I used to be really fascinated with past lives and the whole thing. And I regressed myself a couple times. I used to do a lot of out-of-body, I had a lot of out-of-body experiences. I used to meditate a lot. So I used to do, I had a lot of lucid dreams. So it would come to me, these past lives that I would have and memories and things. But the whole idea of the soul leaving my body, going out into the universe and coming back inside my mother, whatever, to join my cells never quite sat right with me. After I did the DNA test between my brother and then I did it again by myself, and we did it with two separate companies, so we could capture different sides of the coin. I realized something very interesting. So I had always a fascination with Egyptian culture. I had a fascination with French culture. I had a fascination with Greek, Moroccan, Arabian, Russian, very specific, Asian. After I did my brother's test, I find out that my dad's line actually started off in somewhere in North Africa, and my brother's line actually has a distant lineage with King Tut. So I've been fascinated with Egypt since I was 9 years old. Since the day that they told me about the Egyptian pyramids, I was enthralled. I tried to find out everything about it, and I was, so interested in it. And I was also fascinated with French culture. I found out I have French in me. I was fascinated with Greek. I found out I had Greek in me. So everything that I was ever fascinated with, it was inside my DNA. So it's not some soul that went and traveled across the universe to get to this point. No, it's directly traceable through science. So then I got to thinking, well, what is junk DNA? Junk DNA is 75% of our DNA, yet nobody can figure out what it's for or what it does. So it's just laid there as junk. But maybe this is some form of encrypted information. It's the memories or the experiences of our ancestors in the past. What if we could, disencrypt this information? And I might be wrong. Maybe there's, maybe really it is junk DNA and I'm looking too far into this. But it hasn't been looked into in that sense yet. So why don't we try? So I really like a lot of cryptology, and I was one of the people who tried to do the cicada puzzles, and I love decrypting things, and it's always fascinated me, like the decoder rings when I was little. And so maybe this is just a form of cryptology. Maybe they are just encrypted and we need some sort of key to decrypt this information. I'm not sure what we'll find, and I'm not sure if there's anything to find. I'm just merely stating that there might be something more to what we are calling junk DNA. Because God, it was really weird. I've had some crazy dreams. I have always had a fascination with adventuring. I had Francis Drake in my DNA. I have always had a big humanitarian, compassionate heart. I had Mother Teresa and Abraham Lincoln. I've always been fascinated with biology. I had Charles Darwin, So these are people that I have distant cousin lineage with. That means that somewhere in there, their ideas, their energy, their feelings, their something runs in my blood. So there might not be these past lives the way that we've seen it. Maybe it's not the way, in that it's some spiritual out-of-body experience, It's really just junk DNA. So I hope that this video is plants some sort of idea inside of a scientist that can actually research this. Hopefully somebody with a cryptographic background, or maybe they can, they could talk to somebody, or team up with somebody who's into cryptology, and then they can both work together to do this and maybe decipher this code that's inside of us. Because it just might be more than what we're thinking. And I'm not really sure anybody's really gave it a thought like that before. So that's why I wanted to start my videos at the very beginning, So I'm sorry that I don't have the best equipment. I'm really just, I'm a starving artist, teacher. I'm just on an iPhone in my backyard because I love the outdoors. I like being outdoors. I feel like if my mind works better out here. And I mean, I'm just starting out, so I hope you don't mind my equipment and my shaky hand. Tried to put it on something, but it didn't work too well. I promise I'll get myself a tripod for next time, but for now, just think about what I said, and if this interests you and you think that somebody might benefit from this type of idea, pass it along. Send it over, and maybe we can get this stuff sorted out. And there's this thing called the Akashic Records, so maybe that is the Akashic Records. Maybe the Akashic Records are just the junk DNA, or maybe just DNA itself stored within each cell of our body. Everything that we have ever been, everybody that we have ever known, everybody that we will ever be, will be written in that record. And so it might just be that our DNA is way more than we ever thought. Thank you. Have a nice day.